All in the Family made audiences laugh until they cried and touched their hearts with sharp, thought-provoking social debates. But behind the spotlight lay shocking tragedies. Carroll O'Connor lost his son to drugs, Sherman Hemsley fought cancer in lonely silence, and Jean Stapleton passed away, leaving deep sorrow. What tragedies hid behind the 15 stars who have fallen? Join us as we uncover the truths behind each of these stars and honor their legacies. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. Carroll O'Connor as Archie Bunker. John Carroll. O'Connor was born on August 2, 1924, in Manhattan, New York. When he took on the role of Archie Bunker in All in the Family in 1971, he was 47 years old. With his portrayal of Archie Bunker, a working-class man who was conservative, stubborn, and often voiced prejudiced views on race, religion, and politics, O'Connor not only won 4 prestigious Emmy Awards, but also etched the image of a complex character, both despicable and pitiable, into the minds of American TV audiences. The success of the role brought him to the height of fame, but behind that glory was a life plunged into an irreparable sorrow. The greatest tragedy of O'Connor's life began in the late 1980s when he discovered that his son, Hugh O'Connor, the child he and his wife had adopted when Hugh was just 6 days old, had fallen into addiction. O'Connor could only watch helplessly as his son became enslaved to cocaine and heroin, despite pouring all his love, money, and effort into helping him. His family was consumed with worry and despair as time and again Hugh fell into physical and mental ruin. This pain reached its peak on March 28, 1995, when Hugh ended his own life with a gunshot, leaving a void that O'Connor and his wife could never fill. Hugh's death drove O'Connor into deep depression. He admitted that not a day passed without thinking of his son, yearning to see the smile of the child he had once held with so much hope. That emotional agony became even harsher as O'Connor's health steadily declined. He suffered from diabetes for many years, a disease that silently ravaged his body and led to severe complications. He underwent coronary artery bypass surgery to save his weakened heart after decades of battling illness and stress. By the late 1990s, he needed another operation to clear his carotid artery and prevent a stroke. His failing body left him with little strength to continue the work he loved. The physical pain combined with the torment of losing his son made his final years lonely and filled with unending regret. He once said on television, "I'll never forget. Not a day goes by that I don't think of him and want him back. I'll feel this way until I'm gone too." Despite all this suffering, O'Connor tried to turn his pain into positive action. He became a tireless advocate against drug abuse, helping push through the California Drug Dealer Civil Liability Act, also known as the Hugh O'Connor Memorial Act. Sadly, on June 21, 2001, after a severe heart attack caused by complications from diabetes, O'Connor passed away at the age of 76. His net worth at the time was estimated at around $20 million, mostly earned through his brilliant work on All in the Family and In the Heat of the Night. Sherman Hemsley as George Jefferson. Sherman Hemsley was born on February 1, 1938, and when he joined All in the Family in 1973 as George Jefferson, he was 33 years old. His character, the sharp-tongued, ambitious, and humorous neighbor of the Bunker family, quickly became a pop culture icon, earning Hemsley nominations for the Golden Globe, Emmy, and NAACP Image Awards. Yet behind that celebrated career, Hemsley's life was filled with hidden corners and aching loneliness. He lived privately, almost apart from the limelight of Hollywood. Never marrying and having no children, he spent most of his time alone in his house in El Paso. People said that this isolation eventually made Hemsley feel like a stranger in the world he once lit up with laughter. After Amen and Dinosaurs ended, his career quietly slowed, leaving only brief reappearances in nostalgic projects like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and commercials with Isabelle Sanford. Beyond isolation, Hemsley spent his final years battling the cruel grip of lung cancer. The relentless pain, chemotherapy, and radiation treatments quickly wore him down. Once a vibrant performer, Hemsley became frail and withdrawn, avoiding the public eye. The disease not only drained his strength but left him more alone than ever, with no immediate family by his side. Even during this time, he tried to find joy through music, as seen in his 1992 album Dance. Though it didn't succeed commercially, it offered him personal comfort. After Hemsley died in 2012 from superior vena cava syndrome linked to a lung tumor, tragedy continued to haunt him. His body remained at the funeral home for months due to a legal battle over his estate and burial rights. A man claiming to be his brother filed a lawsuit, delaying his funeral and deepening the sorrow among his fans. Only after the court's decision was Hemsley finally laid to rest with military honors at Fort Bliss Cemetery in El Paso. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at around $3 million, mostly from his earnings on the Jeffersons and his later appearances. Jean Stapleton, as Edith Bunker. Jean Stapleton was born on January 19, 1923 in Manhattan, New York. When she joined All in the Family in 1971, she was 48 years old, playing Edith Bunker, the kind, naive, and deeply compassionate wife of Archie Bunker. With her distinctive voice, gentle eyes, and genuine warmth in every gesture, Stapleton portrayed Edith flawlessly, providing an emotional anchor for a show that delved deeply into social and family conflicts. The character of Edith Bunker earned her 3 Emmy Awards, 2 Golden Globes, and secured her place as an icon of American television. Although Jean Stapleton's career was marked by remarkable success, behind the stage lights, she carried silent sorrows and heavy emotional burdens. Stapleton once shared that her long association with the role of Edith made her feel trapped in a persona the audience wouldn't let her escape. She turned down many new roles out of fear that she could never break free from Edith Bunker's shadow. The psychological strain grew heavier because Edith, on screen, was often insulted and yelled at by Archie, even though it was all acting. Stapleton admitted that after each tense scene, she still felt heartache and exhaustion. Her deep empathy for the character made it impossible for her to fully separate Edith from real life, creating an emotional weight that lasted for years. Stapleton's personal life also saw losses that left lasting pain. In 1983, she lost her husband, theater director William Putch, to a sudden heart attack. That grief left a void that never healed. Despite her sorrow, Stapleton courageously took to the stage on the very night her husband died, as a tribute to his love for the arts, an extraordinary display of her strength and professionalism. In her final years, Stapleton faced age-related health problems, including respiratory complications and physical decline. She spent those years quietly, far from the spotlight she had once conquered. On May 31, 2013, she passed away in her Manhattan apartment at the age of 90. At the time of her death, Jean Stapleton's net worth was estimated at around $10 million, the result of a career built on persistence and dignity in film, television, and theater. Isabelle Sanford as Louise Jefferson. Isabelle Sanford was born on August 29, 1917, in Harlem, New York. When she began appearing on All in the Family in 1971, she was 56 years old, playing Louise Jefferson, the intelligent, calm, and forgiving wife who was always the steady force soothing George Jefferson's temper. Louise became not only a symbol of strength in women, but also made history for Isabelle as the first African-American woman to win the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy, paving the way for future generations of black performers. Behind that success was a life filled with quiet tragedies and hidden pain. Isabelle's marriage to William Edward Richmond was a source of much unhappiness. Trapped in a tense relationship marked by conflict and signs of domestic violence, she endured many tearful nights while struggling to care for their 3 young children. In 1960, summoning all the courage she had left, Isabelle left her husband and her old life behind, taking her children to Los Angeles in search of a better future. The journey was anything but easy. She arrived with little money, no family support, no home, and the burden of being a single mother in an unfamiliar city. Those early years in Los Angeles were filled with hardship and worry. Isabelle took on various jobs, from typing to small stage and screen roles, all while facing racial discrimination and the harsh realities of the entertainment industry. Despite her talent and stage experience, she was often turned away simply because of her skin color. Even so, her impressive supporting role in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, 1967, caught Hollywood's attention and opened the door to her breakthrough as Louise Jefferson. Although the Jeffersons brought her success, Isabelle's life did not grow easier. Fame came with enormous expectations and pressure. She faced both physical and emotional fatigue from non-stop work, balancing family responsibilities and maintaining her public image as a model woman. There were sleepless nights worrying about her children's future and about a career that she feared was approaching its twilight. The ongoing discrimination in the industry meant she had to work even harder to protect her place and career. In her later years, Isabelle fought a tough battle with illness. After carotid artery surgery in 2003, her health declined rapidly. Pain, repeated hospital stays, and growing weakness gradually wore down the spirit of this once strong woman. In the end, her body could no longer fight on. She passed away of natural causes on July 9, 2004, after months of suffering. At the time of her death, Isabelle Sanford's net worth was estimated at around $3 million. B. Arthur as Maud Finley. Beatrice Arthur was born on May 13, 1922. When she joined All in the Family in 1971, she was 49 years old, playing Maud Finley, the sharp, progressive cousin of Edith Bunker, known for her liberal views and direct clashes with Archie. The role earned her a prestigious Emmy Award and led to her own series, Maude, making Arthur a television icon of the 1970s. Before that, Arthur had already proven her talent on stage, winning a Tony Award for her role as Vera Charles in the musical Mame in 1966, a role she reprised in the 1974 film adaptation with Lucille Ball. After Maude, she shone again as Dorothy Zbornak in The Golden Girls, 1985 to 1992, leaving another mark with her intelligent, deep, and witty performances. Her television career spanned more than 3 decades and included many beloved works. Behind the spotlight, Arthur's life was not without its ups and downs. She went through 2 failed marriages, including a long union with director Gene Saks that ended in 1978, leaving her with much heartache. As a mother raising 2 sons while at the peak of her career, Arthur bore great pressure, juggling motherhood and a high-profile artistic life. She admitted that her strong, decisive personality sometimes caused tension, particularly during her time on The Golden Girls, although her colleagues respected her deeply. Sadly, lung cancer slowly ravaged her health, gradually forcing Arthur to step away from the stage and lights she loved. Beatrice Arthur passed away on April 25, 2009, at her home in Los Angeles, at the age of 86, after battling lung cancer. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at about $8 million, thanks to her success in All in the Family, Maude, The Golden Girls, and her other stage and television projects. Mike Evans as Lionel Jefferson. Michael Jonas Evans was born on November 3, 1949. When he joined All in the Family in 1971, he was 21 years old, playing Lionel Jefferson, the smart, witty son of George and Louise Jefferson, known for his clever and subtle comebacks in the face of social prejudice. This role made Evans a familiar face on television and paved the way for him to co-create the groundbreaking sitcom Good Times, 1974 to 1979, a show that offered a profound look at the lives of African Americans in contemporary society. In his career, Mike Evans was known not only for All in the Family and the Jeffersons, but also left a mark with his role as Lenny in The Practice, 1976-1977. Although he found success as both a writer and actor, Evans faced immense pressure in the fiercely competitive entertainment industry, where even a single misstep wasn't tolerated. After stepping away from the spotlight, he turned to real estate in California. But this new path did not bring the success he had hoped for, leading to ongoing financial difficulties in his final years. Outside of work, Evans led a private life. He never married but was proud of his two daughters, Carlina and Tammy, who were his greatest comfort. In his later years, Evans battled the cruel effects of throat cancer, which caused him deep physical and emotional pain and drained the strength of a man who had once been so vibrant and passionate on set. Loneliness and the long struggle with illness cast a shadow over his final chapter. Michael Jonas Evans passed away on December 14, 2006, at his mother's home in 29 Palms, California, at the age of 57. He was cremated according to his family's wishes. At the time of his death, Mike Evans's net worth was estimated at about $1 million, mainly from his acting career and the production projects he worked hard to build during his years in entertainment. Vincent Gardinia as Frank Lorenzo. Vincent Gardinia was born on January 7, 1920. When he joined All in the Family in 1973, he was 56 years old, playing Frank Lorenzo, the quirky but sincere neighbor known for his humorous, sometimes biting exchanges with Archie Bunker. This role left a lasting impression on TV audiences, alongside his standout film performances as Inspector Frank Ochoa in Death Wish, 1974, and Mr. Moshnick in Little Shop of Horrors, 1986. Born in Ercolano, Italy, and raised in the U.S. after his family immigrated when he was young, Gardinia began acting at age 5, performing with his father's troupe in New York's Italian neighborhoods. From the stage to the big screen, he was known for complex, layered roles and earned 2 Oscar nominations for Best Supporting Actor in Bang the Drum Slowly, 1973, and Moonstruck, 1987. On television, in addition to All in the Family, he won an Emmy for Age-Old Friends, 1990. Gardinia's artistic life was one of non-stop work. He constantly juggled stage, film, and TV projects with unending passion for his craft. While neither he nor his friends spoke of it as a cause, that relentless pace may have taken its toll on his health. Though there were no reports of accidents or bad habits, Gardinia was always remembered as a dedicated artist who gave everything to his work. On December 9, 1992, Vincent Gardinia died suddenly of a heart attack while on tour with the play Breaking Legs in Philadelphia. He passed away at age 72, still dressed for the stage and holding the phone. That evening's opening performance was dedicated to his memory, in true "the show must go on" spirit. At the time of his death, Gardinia's net worth was estimated at about $2 million, built from a rich career across Broadway, film, and television. Alan Melvin as Barney Hefner. Alan Melvin was born on February 18, 1923. When he joined All in the Family in 1973, he was 50 years old, playing Barney Hefner, the kind-hearted neighbor and loyal friend of Archie Bunker, who brought gentle humor and balance to the show's tension. Before that, audiences knew Melvin as Sam Franklin, the friendly butcher and Alice's beau in The Brady Bunch. After serving in the U.S. Navy during World War II, Melvin began his entertainment career with small stage and television roles. He stood out as Corporal Henshaw in The Phil Silvers Show and Staff Sergeant Hacker in Gomer Pyle, USMC. In addition to acting, Melvin was a talented voice actor, lending his voice to characters like Magilla Gorilla, Drooper in The Banana Splits, and Bluto in the all-new Popeye Hour. Over the decades, Melvin tirelessly contributed to hundreds of TV episodes and many beloved animated series. Alan Melvin's life was free of scandals and noise. Colleagues admired him for his professionalism, humility, and devotion to his craft. He also became a familiar face in TV commercials, notably as Al the Plumber in Liquid Plumber ads for 15 years. However, in his final years, Melvin battled cancer, which gradually weakened his health. On January 17, 2008, Alan Melvin passed away at age 84 due to cancer. He was laid to rest at Westwood Memorial Cemetery in Los Angeles. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $1.5 million, built from a rich career in acting, voice work, and long-running advertising contracts. Betty Garrett as Irene Lorenzo. Betty Garrett was born on May 23, 1919. When she began appearing in All in the Family in 1973, she was 54 years old, playing Irene Lorenzo, the lively, strong, and witty wife of Frank Lorenzo, known for her clever comebacks and good-natured banter with Archie Bunker. This role earned Garrett a Golden Globe Award in 1974, cementing her unique place in the hearts of American television audiences. Before that, she was beloved for her roles in On the Town and Neptune's Daughter as a musical star of MGM. Born and raised in challenging circumstances, Betty Garrett experienced a turbulent childhood, moving frequently with her mother and witnessing the collapse of her parents' marriage. She showed a passion for the arts early on and earned a prestigious scholarship to study at New York's Neighborhood Playhouse, where she honed her craft under legendary figures like Martha Graham and Sandy Meisner. However, her artistic path was far from easy. During the Cold War, Garrett was blacklisted in Hollywood due to her husband Larry Parks's political associations. This derailed her career for years, forcing the couple to rely on real estate ventures and small performances to survive. Through talent and resilience, Betty Garrett made a comeback and once again shone on both stage and screen. She won over audiences as Edna Babish on Laverne and Shirley and continued to succeed on Broadway, notably in Follies, 2001, where she was praised for her rendition of Broadway Baby. Even in her later years, Garrett remained dedicated to her art, appearing in TV shows like Boston Public, Becker, and Grey's Anatomy, and performing at Theatre West, which she co-founded. Betty Garrett passed away on February 12, 2011, at the age of 91 from an aortic aneurysm, a condition common in the elderly. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at about $2 million, earned through a successful career in theater, film, and television, as well as the real estate ventures she and her husband built during harder times. Mel Stewart as Henry Jefferson. Milton Mel Stewart was born on September 19, 1929. When he joined All in the Family in 1971, he was 41 years old, playing Henry Jefferson, the outspoken, witty older brother of George Jefferson, who brought humor while also highlighting racial and social tensions in a tumultuous era of American history. Mel Stewart's life was far from smooth. Growing up amid social prejudice, he faced limited opportunities as a black artist. Although he impressed in roles like On the Rocks, 1975, and Scarecrow and Mrs. King, 1983 to 1987, Stewart often spoke of the pressure to constantly prove himself in a harsh industry where his talent was frequently overshadowed by that of white colleagues. That sense of isolation and injustice was a quiet pain throughout his career. In 1976, during a career full of ups and downs, Mel found peace when he married Annie Dong. Their love became his emotional anchor amid professional storms. They had one daughter, and this small family helped ease some of the stress he faced as both an actor and a community advocate, founding the Bantu Theater Group and opening an Aikido dojo for inner-city youth. Tragedy struck in his later years when Mel Stewart was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. The illness gradually stole his memory, sharpness, and the passion he had poured into every role and every saxophone note. Mel Stewart passed away on February 24, 2002, at the age of 72. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at about $500,000, reflecting a lifetime of tireless dedication to art and education. Gloria Leroy as Mildred Boom Boom Turner. Gloria Jacqueline Leroy was born on November 7, 1925. When she joined All in the Family, she was 47 years old, playing Mildred Boom Boom Turner, the spirited, charming secretary who brought sharp humor and memorable moments to Archie Bunker's workplace. This character became a standout in her television career. Born into a vaudeville family, Gloria Leroy was drawn to the stage from an early age, but that world also meant constant struggle. By age 17, she was fighting for recognition in Artists and Models, 1943, alongside Jackie Gleason. Through the 1950s, she worked the circuit from the Latin Quarter to Las Vegas cabarets, mostly seen as a dancer or background singer, never quite landing the leading roles she dreamed of. In later years, as she entered middle age, Gloria reinvented herself with roles in The Night They Raided Minsky's, 1968, and TV shows like Days of Our Lives and Passions. Still, she was often typecast as the sultry, glamorous woman without deeper complexity, a frustration she confided in friends. These challenges grew heavier as she struggled to maintain a place in an industry unforgiving to older women. Gloria Leroy passed away on May 24, 2018, in Los Angeles, at the age of 92, of natural causes. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at about $300,000, the result of a lifetime devoted to her craft, filled with passion and perseverance, even if most of her roles were small. Nedra Volz as Aunt Iola. Nedra Volz was born on June 18, 1908, and when she joined All in the Family, she was 70 years old, playing Aunt Iola, the humorous, loving aunt of Edith, who brought charm and gentle laughter to audiences in a special episode of the series. That role was just one small bright spot in her long and challenging journey. Born into a traveling tent show family in Iowa, Nedra spent her childhood on the road with the troupe, known as Baby Nedra. Her early years were filled with music and stage lights, but also marked by hardship and deprivation as the family moved constantly to make a living. As a teenager, when she no longer fit the role of the stage prodigy, she quietly stepped away from the spotlight and struggled to find a new direction. She tried music, performing as a singer with Cato's Vagabonds, and often faced the harsh rejections of the entertainment world. Entering the 1970s, when she was already advanced in age, Nedra started over on television. She was cast mainly in small, comedic elderly woman roles in shows like Different Strokes and The Dukes of Hazzard. Behind the witty smiles was the sadness of an artist longing for her true talent to be recognized. Though she won hearts as Winona Beck in Filthy Rich, a mother trying to escape a nursing home, Nedra couldn't shake the feeling of loneliness on set, as her roles often stopped at surface-level humor. There are no records of Nedra having a spouse or family of her own. She lived quietly, devoting most of her time to stage and screen, as if that was where she poured all her heart and love. In her final years, she battled Alzheimer's disease, which slowly stole her memory and sharpness, turning her last days into a silent but grueling struggle. Nedra Volz passed away on January 20, 2003, in Mesa, Arizona, at the age of 94, closing nearly a century of life and quiet dedication. At the time of her passing, her net worth was estimated at about $100,000, a modest sum that reflected a lifetime of relentless work and quiet devotion to her craft and her audience. Billy Hallup as Bert Mson. Billy Hallup was born on February 11, 1920, and when he joined All in the Family, he was 51 years old, playing Bert Mson, the kind-hearted taxi driver and close friend of Archie who brought warmth and humor to the episodes he appeared in. But behind that simple role lay a life filled with hardship, struggle, and silent tragedies. From a young age, Hallup knew the pressure of fame. As a child star in the Dead End Kids, he rose to quick fame but also faced jealousy and tension within the group, especially when he earned a higher salary than his peers. The spotlight of his youth became a heavy shadow when he returned from World War II. Now too old for juvenile roles, Hollywood gradually forgot him. His declining career pushed him into debt and alcoholism, pulling him further from the screen. His personal life was no less turbulent. He married 4 times, but each union ended in heartbreak. His third marriage, to Suzanne Rowe, who suffered from multiple sclerosis, was marked by his devoted care for her, leading him to train as a nurse when his acting career faded. Even his final marriage, to a fellow nurse, collapsed soon after due to irreconcilable tensions. Though he had a brief resurgence as Bert Mson, appearing in 10 episodes between 1971 and 1975, Hallup's health continued to decline. 2 heart attacks led to open-heart surgery in 1971, but illness, age, and years of stress prevented him from recovering fully. He died of a heart attack on November 9, 1976, at just 56 years old, leaving behind a modest estate of about $50,000, largely spent on years of battling illness, debt, and the scars of a troubled life. From timeless laughter to the tears of real life, All in the Family was more than a sitcom. It was an emotional journey for its stars. Could there be more secrets left untold? Share your thoughts and join us in uncovering more stories from behind the scenes.